Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about what you focus on, you attract. So there's a quote that is often used in the law of attraction space, and you may have heard this actually on The Secret documentary by Rhonda Byrne, and that is, where your focus goes, energy flows, or where your attention goes, energy flows. Okay. So basically what that means is whatever you're focusing on, whatever you're paying attention to, whatever you're thinking about predominantly in your mind, you're putting energy into. Okay. And when you put energy into something, it's more likely then to show up in your life. Okay. So let's take this for example. Let's say that you buy yourself a yellow car. A yellow car. Now yellow, apart from if you've got a taxi, if this is a taxi, right? Yellow, you don't really often see that many yellow cars. Okay, unless you live in somewhere where there's loads of yellow taxis, okay? But let's say you don't live in a place where there's lots of yellow taxis. Like here in the UK, the most common sort of colour for a taxi is black, okay? So what you'll find though is when you buy yourself this yellow car, you will then start to see more yellow cars, okay? And suddenly you start to see yellow cars everywhere. Now, why is that? It's simply because you've put more of your awareness, more of your attention on that. Okay, because you now have a yellow car. And what this essentially means is basically those yellow cars were always there. You just wasn't putting your attention on it. You just wasn't paying attention to it. But the fact that it's become now personal to you and you have a yellow car, you're more likely then to just spot the yellow cars because you also have one. Okay, it doesn't even have to be a yellow car. It could just be your kind of car in that color, whatever color. It doesn't matter what color. And then you'll start to see that kind of car everywhere. Like if you get a Qashqai, right? You'll start to see Qashqais everywhere. And it wasn't in your awareness that much before. But now you've got a Qashqai, you should just see them everywhere. Okay, so where your focus goes, energy flows. You start to notice things that become more personal to you. Okay, so the question is then, is what are you thinking about all day long? What are you focusing on all day long? Because the more you focus on things that you want, the more you focus on things that you want to bring into your life and you want to manifest, the more likely it is that you're going to start seeing those things in your experience and you're going to be open to opportunities. So let's say you want to start a social media page, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, something like that. And you want to start creating content for that platform. And you're thinking about it and you're putting your attention on it and you're ruminating. What you'll find is then you'll start to see things that are in alignment with what you've been focusing on. Okay, you'll start to see, there's like maybe a video on how to start that kind of page. There's other content that you start to see, maybe you see like an article or something that's about content creation. And it's all because those things were already there, those things were already around. Okay, but because it's now important to you and you're putting your awareness on it, you'll start to see those things. Okay, but how often is it though that you think about things that you don't want? How often is it that you focus on things that you wouldn't like to experience? How often are you thinking and feeling things that you don't want to feel and think, like lack or feeling unlovable for some reason? How often are you putting your attention on those emotions and those things? And the thing is that the universe doesn't discriminate. So this is something that I learned actually from Abraham Hicks, and they, I don't think it's from a book, but I think it's a quote that they said, and that is something like, if you're putting your attention on something, you're inviting it into your experience, whether you want it or not, because it's all about your focus. It's all about what you're focusing on. Okay, so if you're focusing on wanted or the unwanted, it doesn't matter. You're allowing that into your experience. You're allowing that invitation into your experience in some shape or form. Okay, the universe doesn't discriminate. So you got to focus on things that you want. So how do we then do this? Because you might be thinking, well, it's really difficult to like control my thoughts and monitor my thoughts all the time. Which, yeah, it is difficult to do that kind of thing, but it's about becoming more aware and more present. And you hear about this a lot in the law of attraction space, the manifesting space. If you've ever dived into Eckhart Tolle's work, Joe Dispenza, you got to make sure that you become more present in your life, so you don't allow these thoughts to become, you just don't let them slip by your awareness, as Joe Dispenza would say. Okay, you've got to be so present and so conscious that when you notice the thought coming into your head, you can easily switch it to something else, or transmute it into a better feeling thought. And don't let it become a thing where you start ruminating about something for like 10 minutes. Okay, because I don't know about you, but that happens to me quite frequently. You start thinking about something you don't want to happen, and then you've been spending like 5 or 10 minutes thinking about it, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I let that happen, right? Whereas it could, if you were more present when that thought just popped into your head, you could have easily just, if you were more aware, more present, could have easily have just transmuted it into a different kind of thought and thought about something else, or just redirected that thought in some shape or form. Because having thoughts and intrusive thoughts that you don't want to think are kind of normal, because as human beings we are designed to sort of like protect ourselves. It's normal for us to have a certain amount of anxiety about certain things, because it's how we protect ourselves. Okay, sometimes we think about the worst case scenario, so we know how to deal with that worst case scenario if we enter that worst case scenario, right? So it's sort of designed in a way to actually think and feel like that. Okay, so that's normal. It's okay to have a negative thought pop into your head. Okay, but it's how long you ruminate over it that's the issue, and how long you put your attention and your focus on it. Because the more you put your energy and your attention and your focus on it, the more energy you're putting into it. Okay, now, but of course though as well, I don't want to scare people. I don't want them to think, oh my God, I've just been thinking about having a car accident for 10 minutes, I'm going to be in a car accident now. That's not how it works. What may happen though is you may read about a car accident, you may be more aware of like signs and maybe advertisements that are about car accidents and how to prevent them. It's not necessarily that you're going to attract that exact thing. Okay, so I don't want people to be afraid, like, oh my God, I just thought about having cancer for 10 minutes, now I'm going to have cancer. Like, it's not like that, but you may start looking, things may start being advertised to you, or you may start seeing more things about cancer, but you may not actually manifest it within inside your body. So I don't want to, scare people about that, but it's important though that you think about things that you do want to experience, that you ruminate more over things that you do want rather than those things that you don't want. So basically all that this comes down to is you want to be focusing on solutions instead of problems. Okay, so if you've got a bunch of problems, well, it's not a good, it's fine to acknowledge the problems and to acknowledge what needs fixing in your life, but don't focus all your attention and energy on the problem itself. Focus more on solutions. So a good exercise for you to do when you've got a problem and you've got something that's in your head and you just can't seem to get it out. Maybe it's like a lack of money, maybe it's a lack of love, maybe because you're single or something along those lines. Ask yourself, okay, write down what the problem is. So this is the problem. And then after that, come up with some solutions. Okay, so write down the problem and then come up with like 10 solutions on how to fix that problem. Okay, because then you're putting your energy on the solution and you're putting your focus on what you do want rather than what you don't want. Okay, so it's a very easy exercise that you can easily do each morning or whenever you have the time to do it. Okay, so let me write that down for you. Okay, just so we've got this. Okay, because I don't want you to leave this video without doing this, because I'm sure you've got some problem somewhere. Okay, that is preventing you. Well, everyone's got a problem somewhere in some area of their lives. Okay, so you write down this. So if a problem comes down to into your mind, this is what I want you to do. So write down, number one, the problem. Okay, so it could be lack of money, I'm single, I feel unlovable. And then number two, write down 10 solutions. How can you rectify this? Okay, so let's take the example of, let's say you have you're looking for love and you're single and you don't want to be single anymore, okay? Write down 10 solutions. It could be, okay, well, I've got a couple of dating apps. I'll download another one, upload my profile to a new dating site and see if there's any new people in that. Okay. It could be that, okay, well, there's an event coming up that I'm interested in. It's like an art gallery thing. I'm going to go and attend that because there'll be like-minded individuals there and it'll be easier for me to strike up a conversation with someone to talk to. Okay. So if I see someone that I find attractive, I can easily talk to them because we've got a shared common interest. Okay. So just think of solutions to the problem. Focus more on the solutions rather than the problem. Yes, it's okay to be aware of the problem, because if you're not aware of the problem, then you can't think of the solutions, okay? So this is all that you need to do. So just take a screenshot of this or write them down on like your phone and go through this exercise whenever you have a troubling, disturbing thought that you feel like you're going to ruminate over for ages, okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like some kind of coaching with me, then you can go to www.christineloveridge.com. If not, coach yourself by following the advice in this video. And of course, you can go and find out how to actually create your ideal self by doing the morning and evening questions that I laid out for you in a different video. So I highly recommend that you go and watch that one as well, and you can coach yourself by just returning to this video and those other videos as well, and just any video on my channel. And of course, you don't have to get advice from me. I'm sure there's some lovely YouTubers as well that are recommended down below that you can also get great advice from as well. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.